Quote Retreat by Sandor. One quote, one reflection, one thought that could bring a moment of light and energy to your day. Join me as we take a look at today's quote. The quote is by Audre Lorde. Born 1934, died 1992, it reads, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own." Let's take a moment together to explore the messages within this quote. Freedom and oppression. Most people think they're opposites, but what if they're actually inseparable? Today, we're exploring a revolutionary quote that challenges everything we think we know about liberation.
You know what fascinates me about Audre Lorde's statement that I am not free while any woman is unfree? It completely reframes how we think about personal liberty. As someone who lived from 1934 to 1992, she witnessed massive social changes that shaped this perspective.
Well, that's exactly right. And here's what makes it so powerful. She wasn't just theorizing. She lived at the intersection of multiple marginalized identities during the civil rights era, the women's movement, and the gay rights movement. She experienced firsthand how different forms of oppression interconnect.
Let me add something interesting about her background. She published her first poem in 17 magazine while still in high school, and by the 1960s, she was already becoming a prominent voice in multiple social justice movements.
That early start really shaped her approach. You know what's fascinating? She developed this concept of the biomythography, mixing biography, history, and myth in her writing to tell deeper truths about society. Her 1982 book, Zami, A New Spelling of My Name, revolutionized how we think about memoir writing.
Speaking of revolutionary thinking, how do you think her experience as a black lesbian feminist in mid-20th century America influenced this particular quote about freedom?
Well, that's such a crucial question because, and this is what many people don't realize, she was dealing with exclusion from multiple movements simultaneously. The feminist movement often ignored race. The civil rights movement sometimes sidelined women's issues, and both frequently overlooked LGBTQ+ concerns. That's why she emphasized that different forms of oppression can't be fought in isolation.
You know what really stands out to me? The way she managed to maintain this perspective, even while battling cancer for 14 years, continuing to write and speak about these interconnected struggles.
Oh, that's exactly what makes her legacy so powerful. In the Cancer Journals, she transformed her personal health struggle into a broader critique of how medical institutions treat marginalized women. She pointed out how even illness and healthcare access are tied to larger systems of oppression.
Let me share something that often gets overlooked. She spent significant time in Germany working with Afro-German women, helping them build their own movement. She truly lived her belief in global solidarity.
That's such a crucial point about her international impact. And you know what's interesting? She helped coin the term Afro-German and inspired a whole generation of activists there. It's a perfect example of how she understood that freedom struggles transcend national boundaries.
The way she connected personal transformation with social change really was groundbreaking, wasn't it?
Absolutely right. And here's why. She challenged the idea that personal growth could happen in isolation. She famously said that the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house, arguing that we need entirely new ways of thinking about liberation and justice.
Well, that reminds me of how she approached teaching at Hunter College, where she helped establish one of the first women's studies programs. She was always combining theory with practical action.
You know what's fascinating about her teaching career? She insisted that emotion and intellect weren't separate, that feeling deeply about injustice was just as important as understanding it academically. She called poetry her way of giving name to the nameless.
So let me build on that. She was really calling for a complete reimagining of how we approach both personal and collective liberation, wasn't she?
Exactly that. And here's what makes it so relevant today. When she talks about different shackles, she's asking us to recognize forms of oppression we might not personally experience. Think about how that applies to current movements for social justice, where we're still grappling with these interconnections.
The way she emphasized the importance of speaking up, even when it's uncomfortable, seems particularly relevant in today's social media age.
Well, that's because she understood something fundamental about social change, that silence doesn't protect anyone. She believed that transformation requires us to be uncomfortable, to speak difficult truths, to challenge our own assumptions about freedom and justice.
Looking toward the future, how do you think her message about interconnected freedom applies to the challenges we're facing today?
You know, I think her message is more urgent than ever. When we look at current movements for social justice, climate change, economic equality, they're all interconnected, just as she said. Her vision of collective liberation offers a framework for understanding how these different struggles relate to each other. And that's really the key takeaway. True freedom can't be achieved in isolation. It requires us to see and act on these connections, even when they're not obvious.
With that, we conclude this exciting episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Your support truly helps this channel grow. See you again tomorrow. Yours, Sandor.